Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting. In this episode, Lippy admits being wrong, Grumpy's Center Parc trip, pizza toppings, and a very dull top tip. Now, Lippy,
Yes.
how's the colour coding going?
I text you in the week. I came to the realisation that I can't be specific enough with my coloured tape. And to be honest, it's mainly for the kitchen stuff, not for the bedroom stuff. But like when we first move in, obviously you're helping, and it would be quite nice to know like where the glasses are and the mugs so that we can have a drink when we first move in. And if I use the tape, it's in one of that coloured box. But if I write on it, I can put kitchen, glasses and mugs.
Well, that's why you have a last pack box, which has got kettle, coffee, mugs, glasses in.
Yes, true.
So are you saying that your previous coloured tape top tip is in fact not a top tip?
I still really enjoy the idea, and to some extent I think it's good, but it's not the best top tip I've ever given.
Do you think it's the worst?
No, I also don't think it's the worst.
Oh, we'll have to dig through the files then.
It's a middle one, middle range.
Maybe we'll do the best of the Lippy top tips top 10.
Yes. Rank them.
So are you saying I'm right and you were wrong?
I'm not saying you're fully right, and I'm not saying I'm fully wrong, but I am more wrong than I thought I was, and you are definitely more right. Hang on, I didn't say you were wrong, I just said I really liked my idea of tape.
I'm pretty certain you said I was wrong.
Probably.
That writing on the box was an inferior way of doing it.
Yeah,
Which
that
clearly
sound
it's
like me.
not.
It's definitely not. I have come to that realisation now that we're half-packed, quarter-packed. I won't be so generous, we're a quarter-packed.
Jolly good. Well, you've got just over a week to go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to up the game during this week.
I think you have to. I don't want to arrive on Friday.
No, Chris is taking the whole of Thursday off, so I just said, I'm working and you can pack.
Yes. Well, you know what will happen. It'll be bacon, butties and gone.
No, it'll all be packed.
I have some slightly bad news to do with moving. I seem to be falling apart.
Oh no.
So I've got a problem with my back, which started after the mini trip last weekend before last, which I had to go and see an osteopath about on Thursday of last week. And he found that there was a stuck vertebrae,
Ooh.
which he's attempted to unstick by putting a hand under my back and jumping on top of it, which was a bit of a shock.
Did he say that's what he was going to do before he did it?
Yes, he did explain it. I have
okay.
had that done before, but there was no crack, which often associated with that manoeuvre, which is quite nice, but none of that. So I'm back again on Thursday. So there's that. And also last night I seemed to manage to twist my knee in bed. I'm not quite sure how I did it, and I got up for the lavatory at 1 o'clock this morning and fell over because it just hurt so much. And it's still quite painful now, so I'm not sure I'm going to be a lot of use, really.
That's unfortunate.
It is, isn't it?
We FaceTimed Chris's parents yesterday to ask them if there was some stuff they wanted that we've got. And I think one of the comments was, "That's all right, Laura, your dad's a big guy. He'll be able to do the heavy stuff."
Yeah, well, he's confused big and strength, not necessarily the same thing.
Yes, that's what I said. But Chris has been going to the gym, so...
Good.
But I do think they're show muscles rather than actual useful muscles, so we'll wait and see.
Well, when it comes to strength, youth has definitely got to be a benefit.
But I'm just getting a bit worried because every day we get closer, I hear more and more that I'm going to have to actually move more than I expected to.
What, more than one box?
Yeah, I expected to be managing.
Oh, dear.
And there was enough people for me to kind of look busy but not be doing anything.
That's the management way.
I'll do the pillows.
So I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about firing bullets into the air.
We did.
I think it was a few weeks ago. Interestingly, if you wondered what the poo-poo was, that's Lippy with a water pistol.
I only got it today. It's exciting.
As you do. Anyway, we were talking about firing up into the air, and I saw the perfect demonstration of this over the weekend, which I'll come on to in a little while.
That's worrying.
opening a bottle of Prosecco.
Oh, I see.
By
Okay.
pushing the cork out.
Yes.
We tried to video it, but we were all useless, so it didn't happen. But it was a very good demonstration of the speed going up and the relative speed coming down. Anyway, I had a message from the Screaming Tomato in Australia, talking about firing a bullet, and he says there was a case in Johannesburg in the 90s where a guy was watching a rugby at Ellis Park and was shot in the chest. He survived. The police worked out the entry angle and hence the trajectory, and eventually knocked on a door in an apartment block in a nearby suburb, which is a jungle of high-rise buildings. It turns out the guy was cleaning his rifle on the balcony, as you do, and after doing that, fired a shot to test it. And that's the shot that hit the unfortunate rugby fan.
That is crazy. One, why are you firing a test shot in a suburban area?
I think that sums up some of Johannesburg in a sentence.
Yes.
So Screaming Tomato then goes on to say, I tried to look this up on the internet, but most of the posts are up people from looking up the item, trying to find the item on the internet. And I think if the Screaming Tomato can't find a bizarre news story on the internet, nobody has any hope of finding it whatsoever. His research abilities, hence the name Screaming Tomato, are legendary. So thank you for that. That was quite interesting. Obviously, don't try that at home.
No,
Cleaning your gun and setting
impressive
off
that
here.
the police could figure out exactly where it came from.
It is. Yes, I mean, you would have thought the body would have moved a bit. So I don't know. That is quite impressive, to be honest. Anyway, so I had a very nice weekend. Very long
did?
weekend. I had a trip to Center Parcs, which I've never been to before. And we went as part of Wife of Grumpy's sister's family trip, all COVID safe, as sister-in-law of Grumpy is quite stringent about these sort of rules, quite rightly so. So we just followed all of the guidelines, rules, and a few more things.
A few extras.
A few extras. I have to say, those Center Parcs is quite expensive in terms of the lodges. The accommodation is superb.
Is it?
Yeah. And do you remember some weeks ago we talked about Imperial Leather Soap?
Yes.
And the label.
And putting it up on the label.
Yeah, stop it sticking. Well, their soap, which comes in, unfortunately, a little plastic wrapper, has already got bubbles on it, so it doesn't stick. And that's the level of stuff that you get. So the mirror in the bathroom was heated, so it didn't steam up in the shower.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was really good. It was spotlessly clean, the apartment, as you'd expect it to be. But the whole site, with the exception of goose poo,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't expect them to clear it up, and there were a lot of geese flapping around.
Yeah.
It was spotless, no litter. It
Really
was,
good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. The fact that all the cars move out into the car park and you've only got
no one
people
driving
cycling,
around.
Yeah, although the pedestrians and the cyclists do get a bit tangled.
Less painful being hit by a bike than a car, though.
Not necessarily, and we did hire bikes for the duration, and one of the party decided they didn't want a two-wheeler. So this is one of the adults. Didn't
Yes.
want a two-wheeler. They'd hire a trike. And this trike, I think, was made by the devil himself. It's there was a slightly complicated clear-up routine on Monday morning in terms of picking up cars and taking bikes back and helping other people. And I ended up having to cycle this tricycle, which really wasn't the right size for me, it has to be said, back to the cycle centre. And the person who'd hired it seemed to be unable to turn left, with spectacular results going into hedges and things like that. So I think I'm going off. I'm thinking, well, you've got to turn the handlebars. That's a given. You know, it's not like a bike where you lean it. So anyway, off I'm going, and I've got almost all the way there, and there's one of the cycle paths that's got quite a camber on it. The next thing I know, I'm in the fence with one of the back wheels wedged under the rails. It just, you couldn't stop it. It just went. And because you can't lean, well, you can lean, but it has no effect whatsoever. So it really was the trike from Satan.
That's hilarious.
So my advice would be not to hire one of those.
And where is the photo evidence?
There is no photo evidence because I was on my own. Plenty of people witnessed it, but nobody I know. So that was quite good. Yes, I also managed to get lost on the bike as well. Quite a maze there. This was the one at Sherwood Forest. Maze of
the
tracks.
Robin Hood one.
The Robin Hood one. No sign of him at all.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
And inevitably, given family heritage, the smoke alarm went off. So cooking some garlic bread The garlic butter
Yeah.
ran off the bread onto the bottom of the oven.
And burn.
Opened the oven door. Off went one smoke alarm, which sets the whole lot off in the villa. Plus the big red flashing light of the siren outside. And no amount of wafting would turn it off.
Oh, is it not?
So-
Didn't it have a button?
Oh, we had a button. You could push that till the cows came home, but
And
no
stop
effect
it.
whatsoever. So in the end, what we had to do is 3 of us stood up and put a rag over the 3 smoke detectors downstairs in the vicinity of the kitchen until it stopped. Yeah, it's just crazy. But, family lineage. Your grandmother was very good at doing that. Your mother, very good at doing that. You
I'm very
always know
good
when
at
dinner's
doing
ready.
that.
You're very good at it as well. Excellent.
Very good. Not necessarily actually burning the food,
No.
just setting off the fire alarm, smoke alarm.
We used to have an ADT alarm here when you kids were much younger, which had a fire detector, but I think it was a CO2 detector. And they positioned it downstairs. But every time you opened the oven when it was on, it would set the thing off. Also, where we park the car, start the car, the exhaust fumes come a little bit under
Set it
the
off.
front door. So your mum dropped you off at school one morning, came back to find the fire brigade in the house. Which was a bit of
I'm
a
sure
shock,
she
to be
didn't
honest.
mind that, to be honest with you.
Well, it was a reserve crew from the
Oh,
village,
okay.
so it's not quite the same thing. But I also discovered 2 new games.
2 new games.
Yeah, beer pong.
We played beer pong at our Christmas
I've
party.
never played beer pong.
Oh,
I've
you!
always
I
avoided
don't
it.
remember you playing, but
No,
we had.
that's
beer
because I
pong.
didn't.
Yeah.
Had that, and a game called 21.
Were you good at beer pong?
I got 1 in,
Okay. How many did you drink?
only 1 actually.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. I find with beer pong, I'm rubbish at the start, but the more I drink, the better I get. Until a certain point, obviously. And then it goes the other way.
yes, had 1 round of that. I had a game called 21.
I don't think I've played
Yeah,
21.
it's a sort of counting game where you add in rules and things like that, but the object of the game is not to say the number 21.
Okay.
But neither myself nor wife are grumpy cottoned on to that, and I think we both on one occasion just said it optionally, completely by mistake. So concentrated so much on other bits.
That you just said it.
Yeah, and the last thing I'm going to say about this trip was I came across a saying I've never heard of before, and it had me in stitches. And it's all gong, no dinner. So if you think of, well, with massive houses and stuff, you'd have a gong to announce dinner. And it's the equivalent of all mouth and no trousers, which we would
Yeah.
have down here, or all the gear and no idea.
Yes.
But I thought it was a brilliant saying that had me in stitches. Mind you, this was after not being very good at 21 and being okay at beer pong.
I see. So there had been a few sippies of a beverage
There had been a few sippies.
before the hystericalness started.
So have you watched the Friends reunion yet?
Yes. I said to Chris, I was like, let's watch it at the weekend, and then that completely changed as soon as he got home. I was like, let's watch it now because I don't want to miss out. But yeah, I watched it.
What
The
did
day
you
it came
think?
out. Absolutely loved it. I thought they did it so well with like the cutting from the episode to the table reading of them doing it and not being like too interviewey. And then they played the game a little bit as well. I thought it was a really good mixture of everything.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I thought I had very low expectations.
Yes.
And I think the reason for that is the last programme of that type I saw was The In-Betweeners, which was an absolute road crash. It
Dreadful
was
show.
so bad. I think the actors afterwards on social media apologised for the whole experience because it really was dreadful. But I thought that was very well put together.
It was.
The only thing that saddened me slightly was the amount of work that some of them have obviously had on their faces.
Yes.
I don't get it.
No.
I really don't get it.
No.
Age naturally is my
Well,
view of
I
that.
don't think Jennifer Aniston's had much done.
I don't know, but again, then I'm not trying to sell my face every day.
Yeah,
so.
that is the problem, isn't it?
Well, there is that, but also I did £1 million an episode back in the 90s, so not sure about that. But I think when you start to look a bit like Michael Jackson, you've gone too far.
Yes. It was very good.
He was good. I thought James Corden was good as well. He was
Yes.
interesting choice, actually. He seems to have
strange
broken
choice.
that market over there really well.
Yeah, people in America seem to absolutely love James Corden. I mean, I absolutely love James Corden, but I think we all know him as Smithy, not really as like a TV show host.
No, that's right. I mean, I know him perhaps both from The Wrong Men's, which was a series on BBC a few years ago,
Sure, I saw that.
which is still on, it's either on the iPlayer or on Netflix, and that's very funny. And I think he co-wrote that with the other star in there.
Yeah.
Can't think what his chap's name is. And that's very funny. Very, very good. And some of it filmed at Dunsfold as well. And the other anniversary special that was on, which I haven't seen yet, was the Friday Night Dinner anniversary, which had Paul Ritter's last
The last episode,
appearance.
yeah.
I've seen some photos from it, and it does seem very sad. Paul passing is very hard to deal with for when they've worked together for 10 years. It's very difficult. So I'm not sure I could watch that without tearing up a bit, and maybe one from where we're not so much hungover for the weekend.
Yes. Well, you can hold the tears back a bit easier.
Yes, absolutely. Rather than I guffaw at bizarre statements or cry at genius is passing. So I guess there's no news with the move. It's all just ploughing ahead with packing.
Yeah.
Vans ordered.
We got this house up to be rented.
Excellent.
Last night it went up, yesterday afternoon. Well, the pictures got taken at 1:45, and we got a phone call this morning to say there are 2 viewings booked in on Saturday.
Well, I never.
So it's good news, always.
So you renting with any furniture in it?
It's confusing because we're renting it unfurnished, but there's things we'll leave like the fridge, the washing machine, microwave,
Yeah.
etc. We're also going to offer to leave the wardrobe upstairs, but then that's just a case of whoever it is, if they want it or not, and if they don't, then we'll just rip it apart and take it to the dump because it's all a bit wonky. I think if you moved it, it would fall apart, but it's fine as it is. And then we've got tables and chair outside. We're going to leave those as well.
Yeah.
But none of that's going on the inventory because it's not a thing that if it breaks, we want to have to pay to get a new set of.
I see. Yeah.
So it's going as like if you want it, we'll leave it. If not, we'll remove it.
Oh, well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, really good.
Very encouraging.
So hopefully it won't be empty for very long.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah, we've given ourselves a week from when we move to come and get it cleaned and get it ready to be rented. So it starts the weekend after, if anyone does want it that quickly.
Brilliant. Well, it's just a matter of packing.
It is a matter of packing.
Yes. So those empty boxes I can see behind you need to be unempty.
You can't see the full ones.
Oh,
The full
conveniently.
ones obviously, the empty ones are at the front of the pile so that we can grab them, and then the full ones are at the back.
Yes.
And there's full ones that end in front of me as well.
Ah, okay. Can't see that.
But it's still not. It's still only like a quarter of the stuff. So
Yeah, you better get cracking.
Thing is, I'm going to do a little bit at night. Not tonight, obviously, because tonight's podcast night, and I need to go and get some food after this. But then I'm going to do a little bit tomorrow night and a little bit Thursday night, and then before I know it, be packed.
Yeah.
My other issue is, what if I need to wear it?
We just have to plan ahead a bit.
I know, but I've already packed some stuff. I pulled this out of a box this morning, the T-shirt
that's
I'm
all right.
wearing.
We're not going anywhere.
That's what I mean, but I need to plan a bit better, I think, so that I've got clothes. I might just wear this all week because I don't see anyone anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I get a bit smelly.
Might be a bit whiffy, but...
No one sees me. It'll be all packed and ready by Thursday night.
Excellent. Otherwise, there'll be trouble. Good. Well, moving on, I wanted to talk about pizza toppings.
Yes.
And actually, I wanted to talk about pizzas in general because a number of people that we know have bought pizza ovens for outdoors.
Yeah.
And they're looking really cool, I have to say.
Yes.
From the research I've done, I've looked at the Oni ones, OONI, and you can fire those with wood or compressed wood pellets or gas. I think we've dismissed gas because it just seems wrong somehow.
And the pizza doesn't get that, like, nice charcoal taste.
No, it won't. No, it won't get that. That's very true. Whether you get that from a minute in a wood-fired oven, I don't know, to be honest. Whether it's just the burnt bit of bread.
Oh, maybe, yeah, true.
Don't know. But the warm-up times for gas and wood pellets is the same. It's 15 minutes. So, yeah, the wood pellets is a much better option, really. You don't have to fire it up and then run out of gas and go, oh, no, dear, in the oven now. So that got us thinking about the dough. And wife of Grumpy was talking about something that comes in the freezer. I didn't quite fully understand, and I don't think she did. So we'll skip over the dough bit, because I'd be quite keen to make my own and do it that way.
That would be cool.
Toppings are an interesting topic, and I think you can probably divide a country with pizza toppings.
Definitely, especially with the word that begins with P.
I was going to mention that first. The elephant in the room, pineapple.
Pineapple.
So, are you for or against?
For, definitely. I love pineapple.
Yeah, you see, I like pineapple, and I really like warm pineapple, but I don't think it belongs on a pizza.
Do you not?
No.
I had one of the best pizzas I've ever had like a pineapple chutney on it.
Oh, well, that's a bit different, though. Pineapple chutney.
It was really nice.
Yeah. Oh, well, on the pizza or as a side?
Yeah, little dollops on the pizza, so it was warm pineapple chutney.
Oh, that's quite an upmarket one, isn't it?
It was quite fancy.
I would have said yes. Yeah, very nice. Now, what about anchovies?
I don't like anchovies anyway, so no.
See, I like anchovies anyway, so an anchovy on
They're just too salty.
Yes, they're definitely very salty. They're probably not very good for you, that salty, but the oil in it's good, so everything cancels out.
Balances itself out.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Now, I'm getting a bit controversial here. I'm not that keen on the tomato sauce.
Neither am I.
And I have a bit of a problem with tomatoes, and particularly tinned tomatoes, is that they taste
tangy.
a little bit metallic-y. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's the tomato, I don't know if it's the tin. I can't imagine the tin's leaching into tomato, or whether it's a herb they put in there.
I think it's probably the tin, because they get all that sauce in a tin, don't they? They don't make it themselves, most places.
Oh, yes, I would imagine so. But the tin's lined. It's not. Haven't got tomato straight onto metal. There's a plastic liner in the.
Oh, is there?
There was some sort of coating on the inside of the tin to stop it. Otherwise, it would rust.
Good point.
Actually, tin doesn't rust, does it? So no, it wouldn't do. But you wouldn't want the tin leaching into the food, particularly if you think you've just survived a nuclear holocaust and you're in your bunker and you're working through your tins of baked beans and then die from metal poisoning. You'd want your money back for the shelter, at least.
I'll tell you what is a really white sauce on the bottom of a pizza is a good one.
So what's in a white sauce?
I have absolutely no clue, but if you ask for it, they give it to you. I think it's just like a traditional white sauce, so it's just flour, milk and butter, I think. Like the start before you make a cheese sauce, and they just make it nice and thick.
Yes, I know the sort of thing you mean. Yeah, it is. It's called a white sauce,
yeah.
Isn't it? I'm just having a look on Tinternet. Yeah, white pizza sauce recipe. Oh, nice. So this is quick and easy, apparently.
Yeah.
Which never turns out to be the case.
It's like us in HelloFresh, it says 20-minute meal, and like 2 hours later, Chris brings it out.
Yeah, quite. You'd think there'd be a list of ingredients, wouldn't you?
They're not always easy to find these days. Sometimes you have to scroll right to the bottom of the post.
Oh, it's not a list. That's why I'm struggling. Right, it's made of milk, salt, pepper, garlic, and Parmesan cheese.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and butter and flour.
So it's a white sauce with Parmesan cheese in it.
Pretty much. And garlic.
And garlic. Yeah, I definitely prefer a white sauce. And you can just taste all the ingredients a bit better then as well. I'd quite like it. I like white sauce, but fresh tomatoes, like cherry tomatoes on it.
Yes. No, I completely agree with that. Now, what about cheese?
All the cheese.
Now, I really like warm goat's cheese.
Oh, yes. Goat's cheese is a banger on a pizza.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for the first pizza in the pizza oven, if we get one, mine's going to be
onion.
Oh,
and
white
goat
sauce.
Cheese.
Goat's cheese, caramelised onion now, and anchovies.
That sounds, apart from the anchovies, that sounds good. A little bit of basil on it as well.
Yes. Oh, to go with the goat's cheese. Yes, that will set that off nicely.
And a little chili oil drizzle after.
Oh yeah, yes, we haven't got any of that. We had some a while back. But
I had some that I was using, and then I realised the other day that it was a year out of date, so...
I don't see how oil can go out of date.
Neither can I, but I think there was something else in it. But it definitely had a date, and it definitely was gone.
What you tasted of?
No, it tasted fine, but the date was gone.
Oh, okay. When we were in Italy a couple of years ago, we went to a balsamic producers, and that's a really fascinating industry. And it's typically European in that they've got lots of bodies that make sure that the quality of balsamic is good.
Yeah.
And there's different seals. I can't remember the exact words used. So it has to go for tastings. And these things, some of them are 25, 30 years old, and they've been through a series of barrels. And one of their biggest annoyances is the fact that they have to put a use-by date. And they said, we put the maximum we can get away with.
Well, but then?
It never goes out. I mean, it's a different product. Essentially, it's still got oil in it.
Yeah.
So it never goes off, but yet you still have to put a date on it because of EU regulations.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so maybe the oil was okay.
Maybe it was. Well, I'll get a fresh one when we move anyway.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. So if you know about oil and whether it goes off, then please do get in touch.
Yes.
We'll pass the message on. Actually, over the weekend we had a discussion about whether you should keep eggs in the fridge or not.
I don't think you're meant to keep eggs in the fridge.
I think it depends. Well, I read something during the week, just coincidentally, that said if you've bought supermarket eggs, then they are washed and you need to keep them in the fridge.
Okay.
But then they're not in the fridge at the supermarket.
Yeah, that's why I don't think you're meant to keep them in the fridge.
No, but then the ones that if you got it straight from the farm, for example, which have not been washed at all, then you don't keep them out of the fridge.
Strange.
Yeah, so no, maybe that's something we ought to look into a bit more.
I don't keep my eggs in the fridge, so maybe I should be. But I haven't had any egg poisoning.
No, and I don't know why you need... Well, I mean, it's a food stuff, isn't it? It will go off eventually.
Yeah, I guess.
I think we tend to keep them in the fridge mostly because then other stuff doesn't get put on top of them.
True.
They get broken.
And they're not just then lying on the side as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, your eggs don't even last a week normally, so...
No, we go through an astonishing number of eggs a week, which is probably very bad for you, but...
I don't think it is. I think it just makes you a bit constipated.
I haven't noticed any of that. Oh, actually, an egg on a pizza is very nice.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah, spinach
a fried
and
egg. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and
you
ricotta.
presumably just drop it on. Yes. Yeah.
Spinach and ricotta with fried egg.
So what is the first pizza out of the oven going to be for you then?
I actually really like a simple pizza. So, like, when we order pizzas, we normally go half and half. And I always get half just margherita cheese pizza. Because I really like just a good quality cheese pizza. So good.
Yes, it's like the plain and simple cheese sandwich I had a couple of weeks ago. It's just good, honest food.
I only started doing that about 6 months ago. And I had one and I was like, I forgot how good just a cheese pizza is. So, cheese pizza is a definite. And then I also like lots of veggies on a pizza, like mushroom.
Yes.
I'd like ricotta, like a different kind of cheese. And also not little bits of pepperoni, but like the big thin pepperoni slices. Salami. More, yes.
Yeah.
Just cheese and salami.
I'm not overly sure about salami. I sort of quite like it, but I find it a little bit odd. I much prefer chorizo, actually.
Do you? I find chorizo a bit chewy, weirdly.
It is, yeah. No, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I think the flavour of chorizo I prefer. I have something to do with it. But it can be a bit of a nightmare to chew and swallow, to be honest.
Yeah.
The other thing I found with these ovens, apparently you can cook steak and fish and vegetables in there very quickly, which obviously appealed to wife of Grumpy, being a big steak enthusiast.
Massive steak enthusiast. Can you make gluten-free dough?
I don't see why not. You can make gluten-free just about anything these days.
No, I mean you personally. Can you make me gluten-free dough when you make your dough?
Oh, no, you bring your own dough.
I can't make any dough.
So I'm going to make special dough for you?
Yeah. I'm trialling gluten-free.
Oh, yeah?
Went to a barbecue on Sunday. I've only been trialling gluten-free for like the last week.
Okay.
Went to a barbecue on Sunday, and not many people know I'm trialling gluten-free with some of my friends, and they were like, "Oh, who wants a bun?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm actually trialling to be gluten-free at the moment, just to see if it helps any tummy issues and whatever." And then one of them goes, "Oh, you got the brioche buns, that's good." And I was like, "I'll take one."
Yeah. Yeah, that's an epic fail. It was a bit like your conversion to vegetarianism.
And they were
wasn't it?
absolutely laughing. They found it so funny. And I was like, well, I'm not being gluten-free in the sense of like, I'm never going to eat gluten again. It's just that if what I'm trying to do at the moment is not eat gluten Monday to Friday, so that if I want to eat some gluten at the weekend, I can. And it shouldn't affect me as much because it doesn't build up. It's a thing.
Okay.
I've been reading lots of weird stuff on it anyway. So I thought I'd trial by being completely gluten-free to start with, to like get back to normal, and then start adding bits of gluten in to see if it's that. I can't say no to a brioche bun.
Well, it's a bit like giving up smoking, but not at the weekends, or...
Yeah, at least that's good for you.
Well, it is. A friend of mine decided that he was going to cut down on his drinking, so he wouldn't drink at home during the week, but going out was okay.
In the week.
In the week, yeah.
That one's not so good.
No. So I'll only drink at home at the weekends, or if it's a special occasion, I'll drink if I go out during the week.
It just then, there's so many little, but if this happens, then I will.
And do you know what he does now? Runs a pub.
He probably doesn't have time to drink now, to be honest, if he runs a pub.
Possibly not. No, possibly not. Who knows? Yeah. Well, I think what you're supposed to do with that is not eat it for a fairly lengthy period of time and see if it makes an improvement.
Yeah, it's like 3 months.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll wait till after barbecue season and then I'll start.
Well, that's bonkers, really. I mean, have you tried the gluten-free bread?
Yes, I do actually quite like gluten-free bread. I'm not against it. But
Is that wheat-free as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to do wheat-free, but I think the gluten-free bread is also wheat-free.
Possibly, I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, I've tried many wheat-free breads in the past, and some of them are dreadful.
Oh, some of them are.
Some of them are quite good. I had one recently. I can't remember the name of it. It was from Sainsbury's. It wasn't too bad, but it does tend to fall apart very easily.
But I don't eat bread a lot anyway. It's only at a barbecue I'll have a bun for the burger.
Yeah.
So the majority of the time I don't really need a bun for my burger, but I really like a brioche bun. I couldn't say no to the brioche bun.
Quite.
So
Who can?
I had it.
Who can? Anyway, we've gone off topic a bit.
We have.
Unusually. Just a bit. Anyway, talking about food, growing some Brussels seed, my aim was to... Yeah, I know you don't like them. I love them. Is to have them for Christmas dinner this year. Unfortunately, they were in the conservatory, keeping nice and warm last week. I went to have a look at them, and something had eaten all the leaves.
The cat?
I doubt it's the cat. Could be. But no, they've all gone. So I'm going to try just throwing some seeds in the ground and maybe getting some plugs from the garden centre. But that's very odd. I don't know what's got it. But something's also got stuff in the garden as well. Yeah, I don't know whether there's something in the conservatory cat's brought in that's munching. But...
There were definitely some rats.
Oh, yes, the cat's on rat watch at the moment.
Is she?
So so we came home yesterday and she was stood in the same place she was when we left. I think she probably has moved, staring at the place where the rats come out.
Oh, exciting. Because they don't live under the decking, do they?
Yes, they do.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very sweet as well.
I don't mind rats. I wouldn't want it to touch me, but I don't mind rats.
Yes, a friend of ours who's a vet, he always says rats make much better pets than hamsters. They're much more family-oriented rather than hamsters. They're just
either,
evil.
Are they, rats?
No, they're not. No.
That's what I don't understand about getting a hamster, is it doesn't do anything in the day, and it does everything while you're trying to sleep next to it at night.
Yes, absolutely. Anyway, have you got a top tip for us that's better than the coloured tape top tip?
So my top tip isn't really a top tip, but I did learn something very interesting about sofas at the weekend.
That feels quite dull, but do continue.
It's not that interesting, I have to admit. Well, it depends who you are. I found it very interesting. So on a sofa, there's 2 different types of cushions you can get. You can either get a foam-based or fibre-based sofa cushions on the bottom. And we were going around sitting on lots of different sofas, and it's so easy to tell. Never buy a fibre-based cushion for your sofa. Always upgrade to foam.
That is possibly the dullest top tip I've ever heard.
Tell you what though, if you had upgraded your seat cushions to foam, they wouldn't be falling off the sofa every 10 seconds.
That's got nothing to do with the contents.
It does. This is what the guy told us. It's that the fibre cushions squish and move whilst you're sat on them. So if you're sat slouched and like leaning back and pushing forwards, it will move the whole cushion forwards.
So should we have them refilled with foam then?
Yes.
Oh, maybe we'll try that. Anyway, I've got a car-based fun fact.
Oh.
As it's the only way for me to get car-related stuff into this podcast.
It.
Han Min Hong, South Korean professor, built and successfully tested a self-driving car in 1993. So that's 28 years ago. 1993.
Crazy.
The car travelled 185 miles from Seoul to Busan in one of South Korea's most heavily travelled expressways. So, reading between the lines, it was very busy.
Yes.
Despite the amazing results, the government saw no future in the technology and scrapped funding for his research.
That's crazy.
It is crazy, but what is amazing is how good the Korean cars are now. Compared to 1993, where they were poor, let's put it that way. They were cheap and they were cheerful. But certainly their electric cars are a world class, if not leading the world in many respects. So, yes, interesting. Must have done quite a reverse ferret on that at some point.
Yeah. Good fun fact. I liked it.
Good.
Well
There'll be more car-related ones next week. That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.